Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Know the Facts. As usual, I have Dr. Claremont with us. He's got a very, very, very up-to-date notes he's been doing to help educate you people about different things. And I know you're gonna laugh, but I wasn't. Nobody hit me. I fell. I fell in the middle of the street almost. So, but you'll write in and say, I hope you die, or I hope you didn't survive. I hope you broke your nose. What else can you say? Broke your arm, your leg. I wasn't that fortunate. Well, I'm back here again. That's what I got now. Okay, I'll start off here. The town of Shrewsbury, when there is more people moving out than moving in, someone has their facts wrong. Most of the people are sick and tired of the school system than ever. Before they cry money problems, that's one big lie. More people with kids are before the school system than ever before. That's all I know how to do with the school department. Oh, 100 new kids moves into town. We need a new school. Yeah, sure you do. Yeah. Needs a slap across the face. All these phony programs, and every month they come up with a new way of extorting money from the residents. The handicapped kids are getting screwed. It's not funny. It's a disgrace. They just don't care about the kids who they push around from. Say they're in their first grade, and the teachers don't want them back. They push them on to the next grade, all the way up. That's really nice. That's really good. There's nothing just to prove them moving. There's nothing just to prove they're moving. They're kids from one class of nothing and of another class with nothing. Sending horrible letters to the parents. No grades, and telling the parents good things when they should be telling them what it's really like. Parents feel bad. Finance committee should be broken up because they give the school department all the money they want. What a rotten town sure did. All the school department knows how to do is take, and more taken. They're no good. They should all resign. Every one of them should resign. They serve no purpose in the town except aggravating people. Well, I wonder how many new programs they're starting today. Just think, no more lives and crying. All of them are a waste of time. Having the trash companies come out, pick them up, enough is enough. Dump them in the lake. All of two board members in the school department full of doom and gloom. That's Mr. Bowtie and the other one. Everything is brought by the people that bring themselves to need ever more. Well, just I went on a little interview here, say something. The school department has been giving the town a shellacking for 100 years, and they're no good. You people who donate to the library and the schools is ridiculous. You're just feeding them and saying, oh, look at all the money coming in. We get to get some more. We get to go before the finance committee. Well, I doubt that very much. So I'm just telling you what's going on. That's all. Here's Dr. Claremont.
Hey, awfully nice to be on the program again with you. Before I tell you a couple of things about the coronavirus, I want to mention one thing. It got me aggravated, so I got to get it off my chest first. But in fact, I saw it on Channel 28 just last week. It was Don O'Connor who was interviewing our wonderful town manager, you know, and they had a realtor with them. And so the question was to the realtor, or that the realtor posed to the town manager was, what are the benefits of coming to Shrewsbury? What can we tell our prospective buyers, you know, about coming to Shrewsbury? Of course, what he said first, well, the school system, number one. That was right at the top of the list. Number two, of course, the town with all of its wonderful things that they provide, but especially Selco. And he said, you know, I just spoke to the Selco representative the other day and told me the average cost per month of electricity in Shrewsbury from Selco is $90 a month. I said, $90 a month? My God, when I came here in '73, we paid a little bit more than $90 a month back in '73. Now, I'm paying $568 a month for electricity. Where the hell did he get that figure, $90 a month? He's living in La La Land, you know? It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And, you know, all of the good things that he was saying about Shrewsbury and all what the realtor should tell, never mentioned the senior center. The seniors are totally ignored by the administration here in Shrewsbury. Totally ignored. And so, at any rate, I had to get that off my chest, and I apologize to you for that. I wanted to spend a couple of minutes about the coronavirus, because that obviously is in the forefront of the news right now, you know. And today in the Telegram, they had a little, well, not a little, a big article in there about all of the hand washing, the hand sanitizers, all leaving the shelves. They showed all these empty shelves and all, and went in all of the stores and all, and saw all these empty shelves. Never once mentioned anything to the people. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Well, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do, but you're going to make your own hand sanitizer. You make your own. You don't have to depend on these more expensive things. How do you make it? You make it with 2/3 cup of rubbing alcohol. Make sure you got at least a 70% rubbing alcohol. 2/3 cup of that. 1/3 cup of aloe vera gel. Aloe vera gel. They're both available. Both available. And you put in some essential oil, whatever aroma you want to give it. Myself, you know, I like lavender, but, you know, you could put in anything, tea tree aroma, anything you want into that preparation. 2/3 cup of rubbing alcohol, at least 70%, and 1/3 cup aloe vera. That'll give you your 60% alcohol, which is what you want that disinfectant to have. Make your own. You don't have to depend on all this other nonsense. Ridiculous. Scaring the people, showing all these empty things. That really bugged the heck out of me. You can also make your own disinfectant solution at home as well. Did you know that? All it is chlorine. And you can make it with bleach. And how do you make it? You do a 1-to-10 ratio. That's all you do. A cup of the bleach, Clorox, whatever, and 9 cups of water. You got your own disinfecting solution. That'll kill 99% of the viruses. If you have a swimming pool, just use the chlorine that you can use in the granules, for God's sakes. Use that. Of course, it's concentrated, so you just put a couple of teaspoons in, but same ratio. Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous. One other thing I got to get off my chest, too. In the past, I've talked to you about medications and how the government and all of the government agencies, like especially the military, you know, especially the VA system, the Army, Navy, Air Corps, they all have their own pharmacies and all. Well, they all stockpile medications. They also stockpile medical supplies. And what they do, and I just downloaded this. I had a heck of a time finding it. They try to hide it. And so basically, $7 billion minimum stash of emergency medical equipment. And that's kept in secret 12 places around the nation. Can't find out where those places are. Remember, Bob mentioned to you something about a secret place in Washington. There's 12 of them around the country, and they stash this. You can't find out why, where, or anything. Well, why can't they use that? Why can't they give that out in times of need? This is an emergency stash. For God's sakes, we're in an emergency now. Why the heck can't we tap into that? Just unbelievable, some of the stupid things that you see that our government does. So, at any rate, now that I got my rants out of the way, we can talk about what I came here to do, and that is, how do you prepare for surgery? Well, why the heck would I want to talk about that? Well, I'm a surgeon. I know how to prepare for surgery. I've been through it on the other end too. I've had surgery. Now, do you know how to properly prepare? Now, why do I say that? And I'm speaking to seniors, specifically seniors. Why? Why? Because when I first trained to do surgery, we were told, and rightly so, that the rate, the death rate, mortality rate, and the complication rate was much higher in the elderly than it was in a routine, normal population. And it was back then. But since then, our techniques have improved. Everything has improved. The only thing that hasn't improved is some of the doctors who learn how to do their surgery on a video. They don't get their hands dirty. You got to be careful. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to present this to you. What are the things that you need to do in order to get the best outcome from whatever surgery you're going to have? Okay. One last thing about all of the things in the past. One thing we know for sure is that if you are a frail elderly, what the heck is a frail elderly? Has to do with weakness. In other words, you not only move slower, do things slower, can't lift as much, can't do as much, maybe you can't do all the activities of daily living. You are a frail elderly. I don't care what your age is. There's people who are 90 who are not frail. And there's people who are 50 who are frail. So age has nothing to do with it. But if you're frail, no question, you're going to have a higher complication rate than the person who is not frail. Okay. Given that, let me tell you what are the questions that you need to ask when you are going to go for your pre-op visit. Your doctor told you you need surgery. What is a hernia, a gallbladder, whatever it is? You need surgery. What do you need to ask? Well, first of all, what procedure are you recommending me to have? I'm talking now, you're talking to the surgeon now, to the surgeon. And you should. If I wouldn't go through surgery unless I talk to the surgeon. No way. I want to meet him or her, and I want to talk to them first. And so, what's the procedure I'm going to have? And don't give me medical lingo. I want you to tell me based on lay language. If I'm going to have my gallbladder out, tell me it's going to be a gallbladder going out, not a cholecystectomy or cholecystostomy or whatever else you want to add on to that. I want to know in lay terms, what is the procedure that you're recommending? Number two, what are the alternative procedures that you may want to do? Now, for example, we use the gallbladder as an example. We remove the gallbladder. Fine. But if you are a frail elderly and you have an acute infection in that gallbladder, is there an alternative to removing that gallbladder where there's a certain mortality rate and a certain complication rate? Yes, there is. They can just put a tube into the gallbladder. That's it. Just put a tube in. That drains the abscess or whatever is in the gallbladder. So there are alternatives. Sometimes the alternative is don't do surgery. Now, if you've got somebody, for example, who's in the dementia unit and they develop an acute emergency surgical problem, is surgery the best choice? Now, they are not going to rehab. When you have a dementia, you're not going to rehab very well at all. So you need to have all these things asked right at the beginning. Before you even go into surgery, you're talking to the doctor first. Okay, so what are the benefits of the surgery? Tell me, what am I going to be like afterwards? What are the negatives of the surgery? What are the possible complications? What's your infection rate, doctor? What is your recovery rate? Do I have to go to a rehab unit afterwards? Would I possibly have a problem mentally after surgery? Now there's a different stroke there, isn't it? Mentally, how am I going to be? You've heard of people who sundown, for example. People, when the sun goes down, they get into a delirium. They get confused. They don't know what they're doing. That's a real entity. I've seen it many times as a surgeon. I've seen that. Is that a possibility? Oh, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You have no experience. That's why you don't know, because you've never been through it before. You need to know that up front. Most of the time, that confusion is due to the anesthesia. Let me tell you a little bit about how anesthesia works nowadays. First of all, the anesthesia departments now are run by a central office. They hire anesthesiologists who are physicians, and they hire nurse anesthetists. Normally, they'll hire one medical anesthesiologist, a physician, and 3 nurse anesthetists, 3 to 1. Why? Because they expect that doctor to monitor the 3 rooms where the anesthesia is being given. That's the way it's set up. In other words, you're going to have a nurse anesthetist with you all the time. All the time. You'll see the doctor beforehand, and then when you wake up. Now, I don't know. Is that good or bad? I don't know. I'm just giving you the facts. This is what is going on. So, normally I'll tell people then, who's going to be my anesthesiologist? That's your next question. Who's going to be my anesthesiologist? I want to meet with them. I want to talk to them ahead of time. I want to know what their experience is. And I want to meet my nurse anesthetist. They're going to be with me, hand in hand, through this whole procedure. I want to know who it is, and I want to talk to them. Nothing malignant, just I want to talk to them. I want them to know me. I want them to know what my problems are. So, you need to know a little bit about anesthesia and the nurse anesthetist. Normally, when they put you to sleep at the beginning, they give you one thing that'll put you to sleep. For example, a barbiturate or something like that. That puts you to sleep. They give it intravenously. Then they'll give you something that'll paralyze the muscles because they have to put a tube into your windpipe so they can breathe for you. Now, if you're just going to be laying there on your back, not a big deal. Usually it's a straightforward intubation, and that's it. But what if you have to have a back procedure and you're laying on your back? Of course, they can't get to the back. They got to roll you over. That is a dangerous time when they're rolling you over to get you in position for the surgery. Now, you may say, well, that's not a big deal. It is a big deal because if that tube that's in your windpipe gets dislodged in any way, then your oxygen level goes right down. And when the oxygen level goes down, 3 minutes, all it takes for the brain then to get an injury. And so you got to know then, are you going to move me during my surgery? You need to know that ahead of time. And you need to know that it's going to be cared for properly. Okay. So what else? What other questions do we have? Well, then you got to talk about, well, are there going to be any hidden costs? Hidden costs. You know, I got insurance, I'm all set. Well, yeah, you're all set with the doctors in that particular insurance plan. But what if they have to get somebody else to come in who's not in the plan? All of a sudden, you're going to get, quotes, a surprise bill. Yes, a surprise bill. Now, you know up front if you have a big deductible plan, you got a certain amount of money you know you're going to have to put out for that surgery. Okay, you know up front. You should know up front all of the costs, all the costs that that's going to be generated by that procedure. So you're going to ask ahead of time. You got to do it. They're not going to offer it to you. You got to go up front. Tell me, is this going to cost me? I'm going to have any hidden costs. You got to know that sort of thing. What are the bills? Do I need any particular tests? Have you tested me enough? Do I need any other tests? A lot of these things will come because after surgery, there may be a potential complication. They'll get a scan or they'll get something that was unanticipated. Well, that's where some of these surprise bills come in too. Maybe the insurance company that you have will reject that particular x-ray or whatever. And that x-ray, they're going to charge maximum for that, obviously. So you've got to know this stuff up front. So any testing that needs to be done. Do I need to go to a rehab unit? Which rehab unit do you usually use? And they'll give you a couple of different options. Well, I don't know too much about rehab units. Tell me about them. What's the positives going to this one? What's the positives going to that one? You need to know those things if you're going to go to a rehab unit. You need to know up front. Up front. Bring your pen with you. Bring your pencil with you. Write it down. Write it down. Okay, what else? How long before I can resume normal activities? When can I go back to doing some of the things I want to do? For example, for me, when can I start exercising again? When can I start doing shows like this again? I need to know. I want to know when I can start doing that. It doesn't have to be exact. 10 days you're going to go back. No, just give me a good idea, roughly, how long will I be out? Let me know. What else? What other follow-up do I need? Usually, after a surgery, they use that 30-day period after surgery. And if you get readmitted to a hospital, for example, within 30 days, they relate it to that surgery. That's a black mark against the hospital, black mark against the surgeon, obviously, readmission, horrible thing. It's all the pencil pushers that do this sort of crap. That's nonsense stuff. But 30 days is what they use. Okay. So where will my follow-up care be? Are you going to have my primary take care of me afterwards? You need to know that. And you need to have those appointments made ahead of time. And finally, if I need to get a second opinion, where would you recommend me to go for a second opinion? I want to know from somebody who does a lot of those procedures. That wasn't the final thing, second opinion, unfortunately. One more thing. Who's going to be at my surgery? Is there going to be a resident there? A fellow there? Is there going to be a robot there? And that's not a joke. Is there going to be a robot? A lot of them now do this thing robotically. They don't get their hands dirty. They just play with the instruments, and design that robot to go in and do that thing for you. Now, if you've done maybe 40 or 50 of the robotics in that procedure, you probably get pretty good at it. In fact, you probably do get good at it. But a lot of these hospitals will purchase one of these big robotic things, and they expect the doctors then to use it because they've spent God knows how many hundreds of thousands to buy the thing. They want them to use it. And so they kind of push the doctors into using these things. So you need to know these things up front. Ask, too, how much of the procedure is the resident or the fellow going to do? You don't have to ask them, are you going to even be there? Because now they're there. Believe me, they're there. But how much of the procedure is the resident or the fellow going to do? It's not an unheard of thing. That's the way we trained. I was a resident. I trained doing it that way. But you need to know about it. You need to know. So what you do is you get all these questions, all these questions, write them all down ahead of time, put the answer down, have the doctor sign it. Now look at all the papers you've got to sign just to have surgery. You've got to sign your life away. Some of the papers you don't even know what the hell you're signing. I mean, they could put a lien on your bank account for all you know, and you've signed it, for God's sakes. You need to read all the papers they have you to sign. You want the doctor to just sign that one paper. That's all. Simple. Now, what if he refuses or she refuses to sign it? Sayonara. You don't want it. So why can't you get the same type of courtesy that they offer you? Should be both ways, both ways. You want to be able to trust your doctor, trust your anesthesia department, and then you'll feel much more comfortable going through your procedure. So that's basically what you do to prepare for your surgery. So I mentioned at the beginning too that age, probably the chronologic age really doesn't make any difference whatsoever. It's the frailty component.
Excuse me, we only get 39 seconds.
Okay, no problem. And so we want to be able to understand everything about the surgery itself, and we want to make sure that we have it documented in writing. That's it. That's it for me. Okay, Bob.
Well, as I was reading, I was telling people about the ranting and raving the school department does in front of the finance committee.
Ugh.
And the finance committee is just as bad as anybody else. They're terrible. They give the school department anything they want. But who cares what they want? People, wake up to the facts. That they're spending your money like water. Well, that's what I got to say. I hope to see you again next show, okay? You take care. Thank you for watching.